Hi everybody, my name is Jeannie. If you're new here, it's videos on all things cute, whether that's Squishables, Build-A-Bear, Latch Lice, Sanrio, Hot Topic. Anything cute is going up on this channel, and today I'm talking about Esalon. So I talked about them before. I tried them out for the past couple of months with my own money. None of these thoughts are sponsored, nor was this product provided to me for free. I just saw a bunch of ads for Esalon and I decided to pick it up. My first video had some pros and cons to the service, some things that I really enjoyed and some things that I thought could be better. So today I wanted to give an update because I do feel a lot better about the service after speaking to my colorist and having a change in the formula and the color. Basically what I wanted was a reddish brown, and I was trying to bump up that color a little bit more reddish, a little less brown, just to see it be a little bit more vibrant outside of the sun as well as in the sun. So when I did my video before, I was like trying to show you, I'm like, look, I swear it's a little bit red, and I was trying to show it to you with like super direct sunlight. So I wanted to see if we could bump that up a little bit without me having to go such great lengths to say like, yeah, there's some red in my hair, because sometimes it just wasn't really noticeable. Sometimes it still isn't really noticeable depending on the lighting in which I'm filming my videos. Like I feel like some videos it looks really red, or like a reddish brown, like an auburn, and sometimes it just looks like a dark brown. So I did message my colorist a couple months ago and I said, hey, I would like to make it a little reddish. They tweaked the formula. I could clearly see it. So my roots is still a little bit of a darker red, whereas the other half is now a little bit more vibrant. Prior to doing the new formulation, I did do the Malibu hair removal and I mixed it with a little bit of developer. In retrospect, I should have just done water, even though I have seen people do it with developer, and I kind of helped strip some of the buildup because color doesn't lift color. So I knew that I had to have more of a cleaner canvas in the hope that that reddish brown would pick up a little bit more or stay on my hair. Typically I go to a professional hairstylist. I've done that with my blonde hair, I've done that with my blue stripe, I've done that with, I was blonde for a number of years, and that was when I really focused on getting my hair done professionally. I just don't ever want to risk that myself, but obviously in this economy with this job market, hair dyeing is a lot more expensive, and we're going to talk about that because I do really want to compare Esalon with the hair dyes that you can get at a Sally's or at a drugstore. I do think at a quick glance, hair box dye is a little bit cheaper, but I think if you have longer hair and you're buying 2 boxes of hair dye, the price almost evens out because of how expensive everything is at the drugstore now, unless you happen to have a Walmart, which I definitely don't. Anyway, the color was changed. I applied it. I really enjoyed it. I recently did my roots and I did a reel and a TikTok about it. I did some short form content where I mixed it all together. I applied it just to my roots. I do have a really hard time kind of sectioning off my roots, so I feel like in some areas it didn't take well, but that is definitely user error, and I'm gonna have my husband help me next time. But basically when you do Esalon your first time, you get 2 bottles, 2 different formulas, sometimes depending on what color you're choosing. For me, my roots are always going to be a little bit darker, so that bottle only goes for the first 2 inches of my hair, and then the other bottle goes down the rest of the hair shaft. It comes with 2 sets of gloves. It also comes with a little hair dye remover, so if you get anything on your face you can remove it, and it also comes with like a Vaseline type of texture that you could put around the perimeter of your face and ears. To be honest with you, I always skip that. I've never had hair dye, even like super vibrant hair dye, ever dye my skin and not come off. With some makeup remover or some like cold cream, I find that anything that ends up on my skin is gonna wipe off eventually, so I don't really care. I'm not that picky, but I know a lot of people want to take those precautions, don't have the time to fix any errors. I'm messy. I can have everything set up perfectly, and as you can see in that reel, things just go wrong every time for me. But the mixing of everything is really easy. The conditioner and the shampoo that comes with it is fine. To me, it's nothing that really stands out, but they do have their own little store where they sell Esalon type of products, and the only one that I've tried so far is the rinse. So originally I tried the red rinse, and then when we had the update in color, I ended up trying out the, it's copper. So I really like these. I just wish you got a little bit more product. This is 3.9 fluid ounces because it's very runny. It is a rinse that you put after shampooing your hair, so it just, as soon as it pours out, you shake well and it pours out, and it's just like water. It's just coming out of your hands completely. So I would like a little bit more, maybe a thicker consistency, even though I get it, a rinse implies kind of like, you know, watery texture that just rinses through your hair. The price of this also depends. That's the tricky thing about Esalon. When you're doing Esalon, you can choose how how frequently you want to dye your hair. So I choose every 8 weeks. Sometimes I'll push it even more than that. So you can also add items such as this to your box that'll ship every time you place an order, and that gives you free shipping, as well as sometimes a cheaper price if you're subscribing to something versus a one-time buy. Does that make sense? It can get a little bit confusing, but once you see it on the website, the price breakdowns, it all makes sense. So that's why I'm not exactly sure how much this is. I'll look for the price. I'll look for the one-time price here, and then the subscription, or like if you're constantly getting it, which I do recommend. I think this is really nice. I am probably gonna try a different one from a different brand. I used to do overtone, but I can't find the right equivalent because obviously the overtone red that I used to use isn't really suitable for this purpose. But yeah, I really like the color. Sometimes it's more vibrant if I'm using the rinse. You know, I use it, I let it stay for at least 5 minutes before washing it out, and I think it really helps kind of freshen it up, a little bit more vibrant. They also sell like the color sprays and like the powders for your roots. I don't really care that my roots grow out. I think this is a nice shade of red where it's not incredibly noticeable and it's not super high maintenance. I mean, I guess if you wanted it, if I wanted it to look as bright as it did initially, then yes, it is a little bit high maintenance, but I like a color that I enjoy through every stage of it fading away, you know what I mean? Like when I had my blue, sometimes it'd be super vibrant and sometimes I would let it fade to like a silvery blue because I enjoy kind of that variation. So with this hair color, I do enjoy seeing how sometimes it's really vibrant, sometimes it's not. So let's say you're signing up for hair dye and you want to touch it up. Instead of every 8 weeks, which is what I'm doing, you could do like every 4 weeks, right? So when you do that, typically what they'll only send you is the root. And then if you want to add a color refresh, that's a whole separate thing. So that can get tricky, that could get a little annoying. I think the purpose of that is because this is always going to lift. Like if it's 20% developer, but it's still, you know, like unless you need it. Like if you have like brown hair, you don't always have to refresh the entire thing. So usually it'll just be the roots. But if you add that to the cart, it is going to cost you. And there's 2 different prices. There's the one-time or the subscription, like I said. So it just kind of depends on personal preference. I do enjoy that because it's customizable. But I will admit it does bring the price up a little bit more. So at a base, if we're just including the hair dyeing for myself, without like the rinse or anything, I think it's like $26. The first time you use Esalon or you sign up for them, it's going to be your cheapest deal. I think sometimes it's a box for $11 or $20. It depends on what promotion they have, but I feel like it's worth it because if I were to get this hair dye, great, and I'm buying 2 boxes because I have long hair, it's almost the same price in my opinion, whereas Esalon kind of comes with the gloves and it comes with like kind of everything you need. Like it's also a convenience thing, right? This is something where you don't have to worry, you don't have to fuss about anything. Someone's doing all the work for you and then packaging it and sending it to you. So sometimes you have to pay a little bit more for that convenience, and so far I don't mind. We'll see once we reach the end of the year if I feel like I could do it cheaper or like if I feel like I'm not happy with it. But right now I've been really happy with Esalon. I think it's fun. I haven't noticed any real damage. I mean, any hair dye, bleach, anything that lifts is inevitably going to damage your hair a little bit, especially if you're doing heat. So the only thing that I feel like never damages my hair is like overtone because it's just a color conditioner. But the lifting that I had to do in order to get overtone to show obviously did the damage. I've cut down on my heat styling quite a bit. I feel like if I was still heat styling every day, I know, so bad, and also doing Esalon, I feel like my hair would not be okay. But I think because I've cut down on the heat, I'm able to do the hair dyeing. For me, it's one or the other. I try not to do both, even though I've done that for years. But the texture of my hair has loosened depending on what I'm styling it with. And also I think just with age, this is what I'm left with. My hair used to be a lot curlier, but I don't feel that the Esalon has affected the integrity of my hair to a point where I feel uncomfortable to continue to use it. I'm doing a whole lot of talking. So if you have any questions about Esalon, let me know because I will obviously answer them completely honestly, which makes me really happy because I feel like I can really delve deep into everything that I've been experiencing. But overall, I haven't had any issues, or at least anything that isn't user error. Like my roots just suck because I suck at doing them. Like I could do the first part, and then when I'm dividing it, like everything gets tangled. Even if I like detangle my hair, I have a hard time just splitting my hair down. Like I've always been a middle part girl for that reason, because my hair refuses to do anything other than a middle part. I'm stuck in the early 2000s. Take a look at the hair again. I feel like right now it just looks like a brownish red, but it's definitely lighter than what I started with. You know what I mean? Like, I think that is, like, when I'm looking at myself here, I'm like, your hair does not look any redder, Janie. But then when I look back at an old video from a couple months ago before I started this, or like last year, then I'm like, oh yeah, there is a slight change to it. it is what it is. I don't think I'm ready to go any redder than this because I know the upkeep of red hair is a lot. Like, I forgot to mention that I never had any bleeding issues with this color, but sometimes with other reds I have had bleeding issues where you wash your hair and the red just comes right out and it starts to fade really quickly, and you have to do a color depositing shampoo or a conditioner and this and that and all this stuff. And I mean, that's fine. I think red is kind of worth it to me, and maybe in the future I will do so, but for now we're keeping it with my reddish brown hair until I get tired of it, and then we'll do something else. I really miss my blue stripe, I will admit, but because I'm looking for a new job, I don't know how, you know, certain jobs are super old-fashioned about appearance standards. Anyway, we made it to the end of my video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, let me know. Stay safe out there, have fun, and until next time, bye.